Hello guys, I'm Kiri. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna talk about a special McLaren car. A competition car and just one of these being produced. Everyone knows McLaren is famous with Formula 1 cars, before that with Le Mans cars, Indy cars, Can American cars, but this particular car is none of these. This is a McLaren M7C-1. The M7C-1 was one of creation reportedly only finished the night before its inaugural practice session at the 1969 International Trophy non-championship Formula 1 race in Silverstone. Using a number of components that were found in the model McLaren M10A Formula 5000 car. It notably featured a high front wing which was bolted directly to the chassis to gain front suspension. The engine was bolted directly as well onto the monocoque at the back and supported the gearbox and the rear suspension. So this McLaren M7C-1 is a 1969 model with designer Gordon Kopak. The engine is Ford Cosworth DFV V8 of course and producing 420 horsepower. The body is monocoque type with some fiberglass body on the nose and the cockpit surround. But McLaren M7 series are actually Formula 1 cars. They are McLaren M7A, and then McLaren M7B, McLaren M7C, and McLaren M7D. So they are Formula 1 racing cars used in the World Championship between 1968 and 1971. The predecessor of the McLaren M7 series is the McLaren M5 series, and the successor is the McLaren M9 series. The chassis is made from aluminium, the suspensions, their upper and lower top links, the coil-over springs and dampers, and the gearbox is the very famous on that time Hewland 5-speed manual of course. Let's come back to the engine. How I said before, it's V8 Ford Cosworth DFV 3-liter engine, 2993cc, naturally aspirated, longitudinally mounted. The engine was dominant in Formula 1 for years. So 1960s and 1970s, everyone knows the Ford engines was absolute dominant in the Formula 1 races. And also it was used in other categories of racings like kart, Formula 3000, sport kart racings, etc. etc. The engine is 90 degrees, 2993cc V8 producing over 400 horsepower, in this particular car 420 horsepower and 370 Newton meters of torque at 7000 RPM. By the end of the Formula 1 career, this Ford DFV engine was updated to over 500 horsepower at 11,300 RPM. This is a very classic view, what you see now, the engine and the gearbox. So Ford Cosworth DFV V8 engine with the Hewland gearbox combination. So for a long time, many Formula 1 teams have been using exactly this combination. In some points was better than Ferrari and Alfa Romeo V12 F1 engines. Just have a look, the engine V8 with the differential and the gearbox on the back. So this combination Ford DFV V8 engine with the Hewland gearbox, how I said, many Formula 1 teams been using exactly this combination, but was absolutely successful, this combination. So how I said, many other teams as well been using and was better even in some points than Ferrari and Alfa Romeo V12 Formula 1 engines. The idea of the Ford V8 engine was to be naturally aspirated because the turbo engines, the turbo engine cars, they have a delay in the throttle response which made the turbo cars very slow on tight, twisty tracks like Monaco, for example, and many other tracks. So this Ford V8 DFV engine holds the record for most Formula 1 victories. How I said, 1960s and 1970s, this was the engine absolutely successful in Formula 1 and holds the record for most Formula 1 victories. The McLaren M7A was the first McLaren to be powered by the Ford Cosworth DFV engine and was in use for a long time until 1983. Then McLaren M7B as well used this engine for V8, and then of course the McLaren M7C, we're talking about the Formula 1 car M7C, but the car what we have here today is M7C-1. So this is different. So the McLaren M7C as well, the car what been using as well the same Ford Cosworth V8 DFV engine. But after that, from McLaren M7D, they switched it to Alfa Romeo engines. So guys, really this McLaren era with the Ford engines being absolutely perfect cars. On that time Lotus as well been using, and not only Lotus, many other Formula 1 cars, how I said, been using these great engines for DFV V8, because this engine Ford Cosworth specially been prepared actually by Cosworth, especially for the Formula 1 races. But how I said, been using not only in Formula 1, in other competitions as well, other racings, and actually Cosworth been producing not only these V8 engines, they've been producing other engines as well. So the history between Ford and Cosworth is absolutely amazing. So this particular car, how I said, is made just in one car, and is absolutely amazing. So how I said, this car using a number of components you can found in the McLaren M10A Formula 5000 car, of course. And just have a look inside the car, the steering wheel and the seat as well, and the protection on the left and the right side of the driver with this leather interior. Actually, if we can say leather interior, the mirrors, they are very shiny. Actually all the car is made absolutely perfect. On that time, 1960s, 68, some Formula 1 cars, they've been start to using these very high wings on the front and on the rear as well, because this was permitted by Formula 1 rules. But and then they just, after the 1969 season, after 1970 I think, they stopped use these high wings on the front and on the rear. But this is very beautifully made McLaren car in this orange, actually the original McLaren color orange, with the Golf stickers. Number 4 is this car as well, and with the Ferrado as well. So it's absolutely amazing with this front wing as well, on the left and on the right side, on the nose. And how you can see here, the aluminum, made from aluminum, the very high front wing, which is bolted directly into the front suspension to hold the car very stable, the front wheels actually to stay very stable on the track. And the rear side of the car, how I said, the engine is bolted directly onto the cockpit, and the back wing as well, which is made from aluminum, of course. Just have a look how beautifully is made this car. It's absolutely amazing. The tires are massive tires, because 1960s and 1970s, everyone knows the Formula 1 tires, they were very wide, very big, especially on the back. And these tires are original. They're cracked, many cracks, but they're original. Just have a look at the details. The radiator on the top, so need to have lots of air, this radiator, to cool the temperature, of course, the fuel liquids, the oil tanks on the left and on the right side of the gearbox. Just have a look, the Hewland Engineering Limited, the gearbox here is absolutely beautifully made with this chrome detailed. The exhausts, they hold in the exhausts, they hold to the gearbox, and just the engine, the differential and the gearbox in one, they are bolted directly into the cockpit. And of course the back side of the car is amazing. V8, how you can see on the top, the steering wheel, the indicators inside, very beautifully made car. Was successful car, of course. But this particular car, how I said, I'm talking now about McLaren M7C, but this is M7C-1, and how I said, being produced in just one car. And I'm gonna say again, this was a one-off creation, reportedly only finished the night before its inaugural practice session at the 1969 International Trophy Non-Championship Formula 1 race in Silverstone. So guys, I hope you liked the video about this very, very beautiful, actually, McLaren Formula car. If you like the video, please subscribe my channel, please check my other videos as well, and if you like, please subscribe my channel, and see you next time guys, bye!